Hello, it's Matthew here from the Nations of Sanity project, a project that is based on the assertion that crime and law can and should be defined by the concept of individual self-ownership and established as the terms of a peace agreement. Now, this principle, the non-aggression principle, or the NAP for short, which is the principle of individual self-ownership, which basically says that you cannot violate other people's self-ownership. So obviously, if I have right over only myself, I don't have right to aggress against you, whether that's murder, robbing, rape, assault, um, or enslaving you, or anything else that violates your right over yourself as an individual would be a violation of the non-aggression principle. So the non-aggression principle basically says do no harm. Now, anyone who's familiar with Christianity or the teachings of Jesus may have heard of the Golden Rule. Now, the Golden Rule is essentially treat others as you would want to be treated yourself. Now, there's some obvious similarities between the Golden Rule and the non-aggression principle, but they're not the same. And to probably put it in the most simplest terms, the non-aggression principle is basically saying, leave people alone, don't hurt them, because you don't have right over them, they have right over themselves. The Golden Rule, which doesn't violate that principle, in fact, it sits very nicely on top of it, but it says to go above and beyond that. It says don't, it obviously encourages you to not hurt people, but it also encourages you to help them, which the non-aggression principle doesn't do at all. A good example I would use for this kind of difference is if you saw an old lady struggling to cross the street, the non-aggression principle would be demanding that you don't hurt her. But it wouldn't be demanding that you help her. It doesn't demand that you don't help her either. It just has no opinion on it either way. You can help her, you cannot help her. It's your choice because you own yourself. That's the non-aggression principle. It doesn't tell you to help her. It doesn't tell you not to help her. It just tells you not to hurt her. Whereas the Golden Rule would demand that you help her, because if you were that old lady struggling across the street, you would want someone to help you. So the Golden Rule is what I would call a higher standard of morality. But the reason why the non-aggression principle is so important is because the non-aggression principle provides an objectively identifiable standard of morality. And what I mean by this is we can objectively identify the moral truth of the non-aggression principle, because it is incoherent to have the conceptualization of rights based on anything other than individual self-ownership. So if rights exist, we know that it can only exist based on individual self-ownership. So we know that your self-ownership is a moral truth that we can objectively identify. The Golden Rule is subjective morality. I very much believe in it. I think it rings true and resonates with my own kind of personal sense of morality, but I can't provide any objective reason why you should follow the Golden Rule. I can't give you any kind of reason why that is objective. It is purely subjective, as much as I believe in it. But the beauty of the Golden Rule and the non-aggression principle together is that they work in perfect synergy with each other. The non-aggression principle, which is what I and the Nations of Sanity project want to establish as the foundational law upon which our society is built, is basically our objective definition for crime and law, and it tells us where our rights and freedom begins and ends. Now, the Golden Rule is basically telling us what we should do with our rights and freedom. It's not ordering us what we should do, because we've already established that we have right over ourselves. And to violate anybody's individual rights over themselves would not only violate the non-aggression principle, but it would also violate the Golden Rule, because you wouldn't want your rights violated by another, so don't violate anybody else's rights. So for anybody who wants to build a society that's more than just the non-aggression principle, that's more than just people not hurting each other, that actually goes to the point of people helping each other in ways that we would want people to help us. To build the society with the Golden Rule, we need the non-aggression principle as the foundation. The non-aggression principle as the law would be the foundation for a society that embraces the Golden Rule, because that foundation is asserting our rights and our freedom, and then the Golden Rule is giving us advice on how is the best way to exercise our rights and freedom. So This is an important thing that I think people need to understand, because our morality doesn't have to end at the non-aggression principle, but it does need to begin there. And we don't have a society that only obeys the non-aggression principle. We can go above and beyond that. We can help each other. We don't have to just not hurt each other. We can actively help each other and work together. But we have to do that voluntarily. And we have to do that as part of a peaceful arrangement that we agree on as individuals, self-owning, free individuals. That is the only way to do it that's in line with the non-aggression principle, and that is also the only way to do it that's in line with the golden rule. So even though the non-aggression principle and the golden rule are not the same principle, the non-aggression principle provides the foundation upon which we can pursue the golden rule. Just like if you're going to build a house, you need strong foundations upon which to build that house. So to use that analogy, I would say that the non-aggression principle is the foundation, and the golden rule would be the beautiful house that we could build upon that foundation. But those foundations are absolutely essential. Anyway, I hope I've made that point clear. Anyone who wants to know more about the Nations of Sanity project and the idea that we present, please visit thenationsofsanity.com or our YouTube channel, Nations of Sanity, and please support and scrutinise this idea.